8 brutal bodyweight exercises that build more muscle than weights after 50. You are about to see 8 bodyweight exercises that build more muscle than most people can achieve with machines and weight plates. And the best part? All of them can be done at home, without expensive equipment and without putting your joints at risk. After 50, this is not just convenient, it is strategic. Stay here because every second of this video will be worth it for your body. Before we get started, please leave a comment with your name and the city you are watching from. We would love to know. Exercise number 1. Triceps dip. Who said you need an expensive machine to destroy your triceps? The triceps dip is one of the oldest and most effective movements for building the back of the arm. It was the gold standard of gyms long before cable machines even existed. And it still is for one simple reason. It works. This exercise intensely recruits all 3 heads of the triceps, which account for roughly 2/3 of your total arm volume. It also activates the lower chest and anterior deltoids as supporting muscles, making it a high-value compound movement. Regular practitioners report noticeable gains in arm thickness within just a few weeks of consistent training. To perform it correctly, place your hands behind your body on a sturdy chair or bench, with your palms resting on the edge and fingers pointing forward. Keep your feet together with your legs extended in front of you. Lower yourself with control by bending your elbows to approximately 90 degrees, then push back up to the starting position. The key is to keep your elbows parallel, not flaring out to the sides, which protects the joints and keeps the focus on the right muscle. A mistake I see many people make is allowing their shoulders to rise toward their ears during the descent. This transfers tension from the triceps to the trapezius and puts the shoulders in a vulnerable position. Keep your shoulders down and your elbows pointing backward throughout the full range of motion. To maximize results, pay special attention to the eccentric phase, which is the lowering portion. Take 2 to 3 seconds to descend, counting mentally. This phase accounts for nearly half of the exercise's hypertrophy potential and is precisely the one most people rush through. Start with 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. Once you have mastered that, progress to 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions and then reduce rest time from 60 to 45 seconds between sets. Contraindications: people with a history of rotator cuff injury, shoulder tendonitis, or impingement syndrome should exercise caution. In these cases, clearance from a health professional is essential before including this movement in your routine. Exercise number 2, frog pump. The name might sound odd, but the exercise is completely serious. The frog pump is a dynamic and explosive variation of the deep squat, where you start from a low position, place your hands on the floor, jump your feet back into a plank position, and return. It is a movement that trains strength, coordination, and cardiovascular endurance simultaneously, like an athletic cousin of the burpee, but with greater emphasis on the posterior chain and leg agility. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is that it recruits the glutes, hamstrings, quadriceps, and core in one integrated movement sequence. That means high caloric expenditure, strong muscular stimulus, and improved hip mobility, all without any equipment. I have observed that practitioners over 50 who include this movement in their routine show a remarkable improvement in hip mobility within just a few weeks. To perform, start standing. Lower into a deep squat with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width. Place your hands on the floor between your legs with fingers pointing forward. Jump your feet back into the plank position. Keep your core engaged and do not let your hips drop. Bring your feet back toward your hands and rise to the starting position. That complete cycle counts as 1 repetition. The most common mistake is performing the movement in a rushed and uncontrolled manner, especially during the plank portion. Many people let their hips sink, which overloads the lower back and eliminates much of the benefit of the exercise. Keeping your core contracted throughout the entire sequence is what separates those who progress from those who end up getting hurt. I recommend starting with 3 sets of 6 to 8 repetitions with 60 seconds of rest. As your coordination and conditioning improve, move to 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. The goal is not speed, it is quality of execution. Contraindications: people with knee problems, hip issues, or a history of wrist injury should modify the exercise by avoiding the jump phase and performing a slower, low-impact version, simply alternating between the squat position and the plank in a controlled manner. Before we continue, if you're over 50, take a look at this statistic. According to the WHO, between 28 and 35% of people over 65 suffer at least 1 fall each year. More than 70% of these falls happen inside the home. And today, falls are the leading cause of loss of independence among older adults worldwide. Many people blame it on bad luck, but in reality, it comes down to a lack of strength, balance, mobility, and physical preparedness. That's why our team created biological armor, a complete protocol for people in their 50s, 60s, or 70s who want to make sure they never go through that. Inside the protocol, you'll get a special home exercise program designed to build functional strength, real balance, and reverse years of poor posture and physical neglect without damaging your joints. You'll also learn the habits scientists have identified as common among the populations with the highest life expectancy in the world, habits that less than 1% of the Western population actually practices. Access it now by clicking the pinned link in the first comment of this video, or by pointing your phone's camera at the code appearing on the screen. Exercise number 3, mountain climber. Imagine an exercise that trains the core, the cardiovascular system, and muscular endurance simultaneously, without ever leaving the plank position. That is the mountain climber. The name comes from its resemblance to the motion of someone climbing a rocky wall, alternating knees toward the chest in a continuous rhythm while the arms support the body's weight. It is a movement that challenges the abdominals, hip flexors, deltoids, and scapular stabilizers in an integrated way. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that dynamic plank exercises, such as the mountain climber, produce greater abdominal activation than many gym machines specifically designed for core training. Can you imagine the impact that has on your daily workout? To perform correctly, start in a high plank position with arms extended and hands aligned with your shoulders. Drive one knee toward your chest while the other foot remains on the floor, alternating in a continuous rhythm. Keep your hips level, not allowing them to rise or sink. Your core should be constantly contracted as if you were bracing for a punch to the stomach. A very common mistake is letting the hips pike upward in an attempt to bring the knee further forward. This indicates limited hip mobility and compromises lumbar stability. Work on your range of motion progressively. Another frequent error is going too fast and losing postural control. A moderate pace with good technique is always preferable to a frantic rhythm without stability. For beginners, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 20 seconds of work and 40 seconds of rest. As your conditioning improves, move to 30 seconds of work and 30 seconds of rest, progressively building up to 45 continuous seconds per set. Contraindications. People with acute lower back pain or carpal tunnel syndrome should modify their hand placement by using closed fists or resting on dumbbells placed on the floor to keep the wrist in a neutral position. Exercise number 4, supinated grip pull-up. Before anything else, I want you to feel completely at ease if you do not yet have enough strength to perform a traditional pull-up. In a moment, I will introduce an alternative using a resistance band that will help you build that strength progressively and safely until you can perform the full movement using only your body weight. Do not skip this part. The supinated grip pull-up, where your palms face toward you, is considered by many experts to be the most complete exercise for the lats, biceps, and scapular stabilizers. After 50, maintaining pulling strength is essential for postural health and functional independence in daily life. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is the supinated grip. It rotates the humerus, positioning the biceps at a greater activation angle and allowing the elbows to travel in a more natural arc, reducing stress on the shoulder joint compared to the traditional pronated grip. This is especially relevant for those with a history of shoulder discomfort. To perform correctly, grip the bar with your palms facing toward you, hands at shoulder width. Retract your shoulder blades before initiating the movement, as if you were trying to tuck your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Pull your body upward until your chin clears the bar, then lower yourself slowly and under control. The eccentric phase, meaning the descent, accounts for approximately half of the exercise's hypertrophy potential. Do not drop your body down. For those who cannot yet complete a single full repetition, the banded pull-up is the ideal alternative. Simply loop a resistance band around the bar and place one knee or foot inside the band. It will offset part of your body weight, allowing you to perform the full movement with proper technique while you build real strength. Start with a higher resistance band and gradually reduce the assistance as you progress. A mistake I see many people make is using body swing to compensate for lack of strength. This not only fails to generate the right stimulus, but also overloads the lower back. 3 repetitions performed with perfect technique are worth far more than 10 done any which way. 3 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions are recommended, progressively building to 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions over time. Contraindications. Active rotator cuff injuries or severe bicipital tendinitis may temporarily contraindicate this movement. In those cases, the inverted row using a low bar is a safer option while recovery progresses. Exercise number 5, decline push-up. The push-up is already a classic, but the decline version is the one most people overlook, and it happens to be the one that develops the upper chest the most. That is the hardest region to work and the one that contributes most to an athletic appearance and upright posture. It is as if people have access to the right exercise and always choose the easier path instead. When you elevate your feet above the level of your hands, you completely change the angle of force applied to the chest, primarily recruiting the upper fibers of the muscle, which are the hardest to develop due to their muscular insertion. It also increases demand on the anterior deltoids and serratus anterior. It is the functional equivalent of an incline bench press, but without a barbell and considerably safer for the shoulder joints. To perform correctly, place your feet on a chair, bench, or step with your hands on the floor slightly wider than shoulder width. Before descending, actively retract your shoulder blades, which protects the shoulders and improves chest recruitment. Lower your chest toward the floor in a controlled manner, keeping your core tight and your body straight like a plank. Push back up explosively without fully locking out your elbows at the top in order to maintain constant tension on the muscle. The most common mistake is letting the hips rise, turning the exercise into an inverted triangle posture. This happens because the core gives out before the chest and the body seeks compensation. If you notice this happening, return to the traditional flat push-up for a few weeks before coming back to the decline version. Start with 3 sets of 6 to 10 repetitions with your feet on a low surface, such as the second step of a staircase. Gradually increase the height as you gain strength and postural control. Contraindications: a history of shoulder injury, subacromial impingement syndrome, or neck pain may be aggravated by this variation. In those cases, the flat push-up with a focus on active scapular retraction is the preferred alternative. Before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Having consistent access to science-based information is what will help you make progress with long-term health in the world of exercise. Exercise number 6, Bulgarian split squat. If there is one body weight exercise that comes close to the intensity of a leg press or a barbell squat, when performed correctly, it is the Bulgarian split squat. The name comes from the Bulgarian weightlifting teams who popularized this unilateral variation in the 1970s and 1980s, and the exercise has never been more relevant than it is today. It trains the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings intensely, but the most important point is that it does so unilaterally. Each leg works independently, eliminating compensation between the stronger and weaker sides of the body. Regular practitioners notice significant improvement in balance and knee stability within just a few weeks. It is worth noting that the glutes are the largest muscles in the human body, and having them well developed amplifies the afterburn effect following your workout. This means your body continues burning calories for hours after the session ends, which has a direct impact on body composition over time. To perform, stand facing away from a chair or bench, rest the top of one foot on the elevated surface behind you. Your front leg should be far enough forward so that when you lower down, your knee does not travel past your toes. Descend in a controlled manner until your front thigh is parallel to the floor, then drive back up through your heel to better activate the glutes. A very common mistake is positioning the front foot too close to the bench, which forces the knee to travel too far over the toes. This simple distance adjustment completely changes the quality and safety of the exercise. Start with 3 sets of 8 repetitions on each leg with 60 seconds of rest. Once you can complete 12 repetitions with good technique, reduce rest to 45 seconds between sets to increase the metabolic challenge. Contraindications: acute knee pain, severe chondromalacia patella, or balance issues that compromise the safety of the movement should be assessed by a professional before including this exercise. The conventional squat with support is the safer option to begin with in those cases. Exercise number 7, burpees. Few exercises are as universally feared as the burpee, and for good reason. It combines a squat, a plank, a push-up, and a jump into one continuous movement, activating virtually every muscle group in the body in a single sequence. It is metabolically devastating in the best possible sense. What sets the burpee apart from other cardiovascular exercises is that it does not only work the aerobic system. The strength component, especially during the push-up and the jump, creates a real muscular stimulus, causing the body to continue consuming oxygen and burning energy long after the exercise ends. And do you know why that happens? Because when you combine strength and cardio in the same motor pattern, the body needs to recruit more motor units than in any isolated exercise. To perform correctly, start standing, lower into a squat, and place your hands on the floor. Jump your feet back into the plank position. Perform a full push-up. Jump your feet back towards your hands. Stand up and finish with the jump with your arms overhead. Each phase should be performed with control. This is not a speed competition. It is a matter of movement quality. For those returning to training after 50, I recommend the no-jump version. Instead of jumping at the end, simply rise onto the balls of your feet. This preserves the joints while maintaining the cardiovascular stimulus and muscle recruitment almost entirely intact. This is an honest, gradual progression, not an inferior version. Start with 3 sets of 5 to 6 repetitions, with 90 seconds of rest between sets. Progress to 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions, reducing rest to 60 seconds as your conditioning improves. Contraindications: people with uncontrolled high blood pressure, heart conditions, acute knee injuries, or ankle injuries should avoid the jumping version and seek medical guidance before including any high-intensity exercise in their routine. Exercise number 8, calf raise. We saved this one for last, but not because it is less important. Quite the opposite. The calf is called by many anatomists the second heart of the human body. That is no exaggeration. The calf muscles, especially the gastrocnemius and the soleus, act as an active pump that pushes blood back up to the heart against gravity. When these fibers are weak, circulation suffers, feet swell by the end of the day, and the risk of varicose veins and circulatory complications increases significantly. In addition, the calves play a fundamental role in balance and proprioception, which is the body's ability to sense its own position in space. After 50, this has a direct impact on fall prevention, which accounts for a significant portion of serious fractures in this age group. Keeping the calves strong and responsive is one of the most efficient ways to preserve independence and safety in daily life. To perform with maximum efficiency, position the balls of your feet on the edge of a step, leaving your heels suspended in the air. Rise up onto the balls of your feet to the point of maximum contraction. Hold for 1 second at the top, then lower until your heels drop below the level of the step. That full range of motion makes all the difference. Performing the raise on flat ground limits the movement and significantly reduces recruitment of the gastrocnemius muscle fibers. To target all portions of the muscle, vary your foot position across your sets. Feet parallel for the central portion, feet slightly turned out for the medial gastrocnemius, and feet slightly turned in for the lateral portion. The calf is a predominantly slow twitch muscle, which means it responds better to longer sets than most other muscle groups. Work in the range of 15 to 20 repetitions per set, with 3 to 4 sets per workout. The most common mistake is doing too few repetitions and failing to complete the full range of motion. These two errors combined practically cancel out the exercise and explain why so many people train their calves for months without seeing any results. Contraindications: severe plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendon tendinitis, or stress fractures in the foot may be aggravated by this exercise. In those cases, seek guidance from a physical therapist before starting. If you enjoyed this and want to discover 5 brutal exercises that burn far more fat than a treadmill, we have a video appearing on screen right now showing each of them in detail. Make sure you check it out and also look into our biological shielding protocol. Thank you for watching all the way through, and may God bless you, my friend.